Princess Leonor and Prince Christian stun in love at first sight. In every royal story, we expect carefully arranged meetings, traditions upheld, and destinies followed like clockwork. The future king of Denmark, Prince Christian, and the future queen of Spain, Princess Leonor, were expected to one day meet as heirs, distant cousins across monarchies, tied by history but separated by borders. And yet, something unimaginable happened. When they first crossed paths, it wasn't formality that filled the air, it was a spark. A spark so immediate, so undeniable, that even the most seasoned royal watchers were left stunned. But here's the truth no one expected. This was not an encounter scripted by palace aides, not a scene staged for cameras. It was love at first sight, raw, unplanned, unforgettable. So how did it happen? What brought Princess Leonor of Spain and Prince Christian of Denmark together in a way that feels less like royal duty and more like destiny itself? To understand, we must go back to the quiet days of Leonor's early royal journey. Born in 2005, she has spent her life preparing for the Spanish crown. Discipline, duty, and sacrifice, these were the rhythms of her childhood. Every move watched, every word weighed. And across the seas in Denmark, Christian, born in 2005 as well, was walking the same path. Different countries, different palaces, but the same unshakable truth: their lives were never truly their own. And then, in a glittering hall where two worlds collided, their eyes met. Not as heirs, not as royals, but as two young people who saw beyond the weight of crowns. For a brief, electric moment, the cameras, the advisors, the centuries of tradition melted away. It was just them. Witnesses describe it with hushed awe, Christian's steady composure breaking into an unguarded smile, Leonor's calm elegance softening into warmth. It was as though the two had found in each other what no one else could possibly understand: the loneliness of a crown, and the freedom found only in a shared gaze. But was it truly love at first sight, or a fleeting illusion born of royal fairy tales? The days that followed gave the answer. Where protocol demanded distance, they found excuses to draw near. Where duty required restraint, they allowed small moments of tenderness to speak louder than words. And yet, with such beauty comes tension. For behind palace walls, not everyone is ready to embrace what unfolded. In Spain, whispers rise: is this the love that will guide the future queen? In Denmark, advisors question: is this a bond that strengthens or complicates the monarchy's future? The stakes are higher than any ordinary romance, because this is not only about hearts. It is about nations. Still, what makes this story extraordinary is not the politics but the humanity. In Leonor and Christian, we see two teenagers burdened by crowns yet daring to feel something pure, uncalculated, and impossibly rare. Their connection deepened quietly. Letters exchanged, conversations in private corners, a language of glances too delicate for the world to dissect. And each time they meet, the spark does not fade, it grows. A bond rooted not in treaties or alliances, but in empathy. They understand each other in ways no outsider ever could. But what does this mean for their families? King Felipe of Spain, a father as much as a monarch, must weigh the balance between his daughter's happiness and his kingdom's traditions. Queen Letizia, once an outsider who fought for love herself, cannot help but see her reflection in Leonor's choice. In Denmark, Queen Mary, who left behind her own world to marry Frederick, may feel a quiet resonance with her son's heart. And Christian's father, Crown Prince Frederick, who has seen duty and love collide, must wonder what history is about to write for his heir. The world watches closely, not only for romance but for what it represents. Could this be the union that binds Spain and Denmark closer than ever? Or will it ignite debates over whether royals should follow tradition or follow their hearts? Every smile, every shared glance, every rumor fuels the anticipation. Royal watchers dissect their encounters, replaying footage, reading gestures like sacred texts. And in doing so, they miss what is most obvious: the authenticity. These are not staged affections. They are two young royals who, in a moment of destiny, dared to feel something real. But love in the royal world is never without cost. With it comes scrutiny, jealousy, and pressure. And so, the question becomes: will Leonor and Christian's connection survive the weight of two crowns pressing against them? If history teaches us anything, it is that true love in monarchy is often tested, sometimes broken, but never forgotten. Yet this story feels different. Perhaps because it began not with politics, but with a glance. Not with duty, but with desire. And so we look toward the future. If Leonor and Christian's bond continues, it could one day transform Europe's royal landscape. Imagine Spain's queen and Denmark's king, not just ruling nations, but bound by a love that began as a spark in a crowded room. A spark that could ignite a new chapter in royal history. But until that day comes, we are left with a memory of a first meeting, a first glance, a first stirring of something larger than crowns, larger than nations. Love at first sight, lived not in fairy tales, but in the halls of Europe's greatest dynasties. And as the months unfold, one truth will linger in every royal heart and in every watching soul: sometimes destiny is not written in treaties or traditions, but in the moment two eyes meet, and everything changes forever. Princess Leonor and Prince Christian, bound not just by duty, but by love at first sight.